Hey everyone, it's Thursday the 7th of August and the time is, let's check my phone, come on, well, it's 5 to 9 in the evening. Right, today's video, a little bit later we're going to be talking about Diecast Corner over here because I've been quite busy. Did something that I should have done months ago. I shouldn't have, well, left it as long as I did. I've also got a bicycle down here that I've been tinkering with. Lovely vintage thing. Well, they're not everyone's cup of tea, but they're my cup of tea. So we'll have a look at that as well. But before we get into that, there's a few things about my flat that I want to talk about. Some news, because things are going to be changing. One thing already has, because it was fitted today, so... but yeah, something else is going to be changing. Pretty big. So, we'll start with that. So just a quick explanation for those that aren't from the UK and whatnot. I don't rent from a private landlord, I rent from what we call a housing association here, or a local authority. You might hear them called that as well. Which is totally different from the American HOAs and whatnot. I don't know how you Americans can live under those. That would literally do my crust in. Being told what I can and can't do on my property. Thank you. You'd get told where to go and what to do with your fines. Anyway, and trust me, you wouldn't like it. So yeah, housing associations here, they there's a lot of benefits to renting through one of those. They're a lot cheaper for rent than private landlords, and they're a bit more accommodating. Well, at least from what I've seen around here. I can't speak for the rest of the UK and other housing associations. Repairs can be debatable, and I think that mostly depends on whatever contractors they are using. But yeah. But I do find that for the most part they're quite accommodating. What's my battery flashing on my camera? Oh, I haven't plugged it in. I've been using it on battery. There we go. Yeah, I mean, if you've got a disability, for example, and you needed some sort of special accommodations around your home, they'll do their best to help out. If you needed like a washroom fitted instead of your usual bathroom, they're usually good for sorting things like that out. Yeah, and of course if anything breaks, at least through general wear and tear, like, I don't know, if your tap started leaking because it's wearing out, they'll fix that, no problems. It might take some time. This seems to be the biggest issue, the time it takes to get some repairs done, but to me that's more of the contractor's problem rather than the housing associations, because all they do is forward the job onto their contractors. And it's down to them however long they bloody take. But anywho, if I broke something, for example, and it was like my fault, it was intentional or whatever, I'd either have to fix it myself or they would charge me, they would bill me for it. Which is fair enough, in my opinion. Which is why I'll often fix it myself if I can. So, yeah, anyway, every so many years they will do like a kitchen and bathroom refit. And as I've mentioned in previous videos, they are going to refit my kitchen. So I've already had it all measured up and whatnot and designed. There's a chap that came in, I don't know, about 6 weeks ago, something like that, and did all that. And he, sent me the plans via email the very next day. And then 2 weeks ago, I had 2 guys turn up to do the asbestos assessment. which has turned out to be fine. There isn't nothing here to worry about. And yesterday I had another 2 guys from Flagship turn up, basically just to finalise everything, see if I had any questions and whatnot, and just explain a couple of things that hadn't been explained. So yeah, now I'm just basically sitting here waiting for Victory to contact, not Victory, Flagship, sorry, to, well, arrange a date. And one thing I do like, granted I didn't get much of a choice, but I still got to choose a few things. I got to choose the colour of the worktops, colour of the doors, whether if I wanted tiles on the wall or a splashback by the cooker and like a little border thing that goes around your worktops, or in the type of floor, and the colour for the wall. But the choices were very limited. It's pretty much a choice of 4 for most things, apart from the floor where I only got a choice of 3. Oh, and the tiles, because I got a choice of tile or, you know, that splashback where the cooker goes, and I can't remember what he called the bit that goes around the worktop. But it's not like a high thing. I've seen it before in kitchens. It's probably about that deep. That just runs round the back. But the tiles are literally just the same style of what I've got, just a different colour. They're white, which I think I would actually prefer. That's what I've opted for, because I prefer that look. I know they're just plain and boring tiles, but it's better than nothing. But I do appreciate the fact, you know, that they do include you, if you like. Because they could have just, you know, chosen everything themselves and been like, well, you get what you give them. You know? Which is more or less what would happen if you were private renting. Exactly what a private landlord would do, you know. They wouldn't give you a choice in anything. And also, with housing associations, the tenancy is a lot more long term. You know, I've been here 16 years now. From what I've seen with many people I've known that have rented privately, it can be quite short term. Because a landlord could say, nope, I don't want you here no more, I'm not renewing your tenancy next time. And then you've got to get out. So that could be every 6 months that you're moving, it could be every year that you're moving. Some private landlords aren't like that, they are quite long term, like where a friend of mine is currently living. I think he's been there, what, 4 years now? And it's bloody expensive. I've said this before on videos, his flat will go into this one twice. I've got like twice the floor area. And I'm paying like £100 less, probably a little bit more than £100 less. Not counting my service charge. If I count the service charge, probably about £100 less. Yeah, I mean, Flagship has been pretty good to me. I would say marginally better than when it was under Victory Housing, which is what it was when I first moved in here. And then, I can't remember how long ago it was quite a few years ago now, Victory Housing decided to merge with Flagship Housing, and at first they did like what they called a half merger. I had no idea, I just went with the flow. It's like, just whatever, as long as I've still got the flat, I don't care. You just do whatever you want to do, as long as nothing gets affected my end, not fussed. And then eventually, I can't remember if it was like just before the pandemic or a little time afterwards, they did a full-on merger, so it's now Flagship Housing. Although Victory still exists under Victory Homes, and they basically manage these properties. I use that term loosely, so I don't see the point in it, but hey ho, that's what they do. Like I said, I'm not going to cry about it. Yeah, I do feel to a degree that things are a bit better under Flagship, if I'm going to be totally honest. So yeah, just waiting on the date now for the kitchen. I sort of am looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to that because I know it's going to take a few days, and I've got to keep an eye on my cats for a few days. It's especially snowy, because she likes to be nosy, although I don't know if she will be now. She got a bit scared today because I had contractors here replacing my front door, and Flagship has had that done on the whole block. I don't know if they've done the blocks across the street or going to do the blocks across the street, but they've done it here anyway. All brand new fire doors, yeah, including door frames this time. I think they were last done, I want to say before the pandemic, so like 5 odd years ago I had that door replaced. I guess regulations have changed, because every once in a while they have things like that checked. They have someone come around to make sure, you know, it's all up to code and whatnot. And if it isn't, they change it. Like my fuse box was, well, it was still usable. It's what they called a split supply. So I had 2 RCDs. It was in a plastic box, not a metal one, but they actually replaced mine a couple of years ago. So I've got a nice modern one with all the modern breakers in that basically do the work of an MCB and an RCD, but all in one unit rather than having 2 separate. So it's all nice and fancy. And I've got light up ones for my socket circuits, so little red lights on them. Can't see them because the cover's closed, but yeah, they light up red. I do believe they give a visual indicator for when they go pop, so you know which one's gone pop. And I believe they give a visual indicator as well to tell you whether it was a overload fault or an earth fault, because obviously those particular ones do have both functions. Not all of them do, I forgot to mention that. Not all of them actually have that dual function. Some of them are just circuit breakers. Get an overload, they go click, my voice disappeared on me. Yeah, I can't fault Flagship in that respect. The only thing I don't like about this flat is that the windows leak. You should hear it when we get a windstorm. This bedroom window whistles like hell, which drives me up the wall at night when I'm trying to sleep. In fact, I get a roll of PVC tape and just tape around the edge of it. But this one does it, that one does it, and I've been on the phone to Mum and she can hear it. Because the seals are shot, basically. So, yeah, well, these would have been done decades ago, so they're going to be pretty much past it now, I should think. But I guess technically they still function as a window. Yeah, anyway, back to the front door. So that was replaced. I've got a peephole now. I didn't have a peephole before. I didn't have a door knocker either. That came with all of that. And typically out of 6 doors, mine's the one that got the damage on it in transport. When he told me, I thought to myself, well, that's typical, it would be mine, wouldn't it? 6 doors and it's mine that got damaged in transport. Oh well, it's on the outside of the door, so I don't care. I can't see it from in here. But yeah, I'm really grateful for that peephole. I wanted to put one, and I toyed with the idea of putting one on the previous door. Because being autistic and suffering with all the anxiety issues and whatnot that's come along with it, I've never liked answering the door if as stupid as it might seem, if I can't see who's there, especially if I'm not expecting anyone there. You know, if I'm not expecting a visitor. But now, that's going to lessen that anxiety, isn't it? Because I can look through that and see who's there. Basically, so I know if it's like some random stranger or if it's someone official, like from Flagship or something like that. Because if it is someone official, then yeah, I'll answer the door to them. I really should report my door buzzer because it doesn't work. All the other ones in the block does, but my one doesn't. I'm pretty certain it's my handset. Because you press the buttons down there, all the others buzz, mine doesn't, so it's got to be my handset. I really should file that as a repair, and the shower, actually get that done. Not that I really use the shower much, but it would be nice just to have a good working one, not a half working one. Mind you, it's been like that for years. But yeah, that's update on the flat, basically. Although, just going back to the kitchen quickly, they don't paint the walls or the ceiling. I've got to do that. But they do provide the paint. So I ain't got to pay for the paint, I've just got to put the elbow grease into painting it, which is fine, because obviously all the walls are going to get damaged and whatnot when they pull the tiles off. They said they'll make it all good and ready to be painted though. So that's good. Yeah, I don't mind, I'll just go and get a cheap paint tray and roller from somewhere. I've been wanting to do some redecorating in this place anyway. I mean, I've got holes filled all up there to sand down from some old shelving I had up there years ago. You know, just spruce the place up a little bit. In my mind, it wasn't that long ago when I painted the whole flat in magnolia, but it's actually a lot longer ago than I thought. You're looking at 6, 7, 8 years ago, something like that. Actually, probably closer to 7 years ago. Although, when I did that, I didn't do the woodwork, so that hasn't been done since the day I moved in. Well, most of it doesn't look terrible. It does in the hallway, you know, where I've been bringing things in and out and clipped it and whatnot. Bring my t-shirt back. I hate t-shirts that do that, you know, where this bit creeps up and it creeps down the back of your neck. Right, moving on. Bicycle. Another one of my many bloody interests. Probably one of the cheapest ones, actually, in fairness. A lot of the parts I use to fix them up don't cost a great deal. And I use a lot of second-hand parts or used parts as well, so it is literally probably the cheapest hobby I have. If I want to save lots of money, I should do away with every other hobby I've got and just stick to this one. I'll be saving lots of money. Anyway, this is a bike I picked up a couple of weeks ago at the free North Walsham car boot sale that they have once a month during spring and summer. I think the next one in September is the last one. So it's a little 1970s Rally 20. It's a Rally 20 Solitaire. From what I've seen on Google and whatnot, they did a few various versions of this and configurations. But this wasn't without its problems. I overpaid for this, I know I did. I paid 20 quid for this and that wasn't even rideable. And yet I've got a doors outside, which I paid 20 quid for, and that was rideable. Had to just put a brake cable on the rear brake, that was it, that's all I've done to it. Pumped the tyres up and everything else has worked on it, so it is actually a great little bike to ride around on. So this is actually the fourth bike of this shopper, as we commonly call them here, that I've got. This is probably the bloody heaviest one as well, this is freaking heavy. But I will admit, one of the main reasons I've wanted it was because I've always wanted a bike with that particular Sturmey Archer tail light on it. Which does work now. It didn't when I first got it, because the bulbs were blown in both lights and the front light was actually knackered. All the plastics had gone brittle, it was all taped up, the switch had vanished and it had been wired up so it was permanently on. Because with this it doesn't have a bottle dynamo that you know, you flick a little lever and it goes clunk onto your tyre. And then when you don't want your lights on, you just click it off. No, that actually runs from a dynamo hub on the back wheel. So I've got to connect the wires to that yet. I haven't done it. I've just been using a 6-volt battery because I had to wire on another headlight. I had a spare one over at the workshop. And I had to take it off today because I've been doing some work on this. So it needed a new front wheel. After posting a photo of this up on the Cycloshite group on Facebook, someone actually DM'd me and said, you know, I've got parts for those bikes if you need anything. I might ask him if he's got any headset bearings because I'm going to need some new ones for that. Which means I've got to take the whole bloody thing apart again, which I'm not looking forward to, but it will make it work properly, so it's worth it. But, yeah, that's the original wheel. And there's two problems. One, the axle is bent. I don't know if you can see that, but it's all, you can see it better that side. In fact, that was partly me making it a lot worse than it was because I smacked it with a hammer to get it out of the frame. Only because this wheel isn't usable, and I've got a better one in there currently. I got off this chap that DM'd me last week. But yeah, this axle was already bent. Maybe that's why it was bent in the first place. Bent that side as well, look. I didn't hit that side. It's seriously rusty, and in fact, on the inside here, you've got like a little groove where your spokes sit. Along that groove, there's actually rust holes in it. The only thing it's got going for it is that it is actually a true wheel. It is a straight wheel. It's just no good in every other aspect. But for 20 quid, I got a nice shiny one. I'll show you that. Now, the old guy I bought it from, he did say, you know, it had air in the wheels when he rolled it into the shed. I thought, yeah, and how many decades ago was that? I thought that, I didn't dare say it. But yeah, he was half right, because when he said it should just, the tyre should just pump up and they should be fine. Half right because the back tyre did. Front tyre didn't, that got a puncture. And it wasn't on the side of all the rust on that rim. So that wasn't the cause. In fact, I found something like a little pin, which I guess could have got picked up when he rolled it out of the shed or something. But I found another tiny little hole after that one. I fixed that one, put it all together, like a dumbass. Put it on the bike, like a dumbass. Pumped it up, thinking I'd fixed it, and it went down again. So I took it all off, and then found another tiny little hole. But it has, touch wood, held there ever since. Now, what I was going to do is just, well, my original plan was just to get it all up in working order, and then leave all the filth and the rust on it, and just leave it as a rat look. Because it's actually rattier than my other one, although it is cleaning up. I couldn't resist but to try and clean some of it up, and it's not been too bad. It's not going to be perfect. Like that front baggage rack on it, that's got some heavy rust on it, that's not going to come off. Same with the back wheel, although that back wheel is in pretty decent condition compared to that front one. It's like that front wheel was hanging out the shed door or something. I have got, well, I did have a replacement front light on it, but I've had to service what we call the headset, which is down here on this one. We've got bushing up here, got bearings down here. And I've actually noticed some of the bearings are missing. I thought I dropped them on the floor when I separated all this earlier. That's why I had to take all of this off and all the headlight off and whatnot. That's why the top half of the headlight's dangling down there and one of the wires has come off. Is it just the one? It is just the one wire, and I can't remember where that goes. Because I can't remember what this wire is. Well, that's easy enough. I'll just click the switch into the on position. It's not going to, because I've got the headlight wire in the way. There we go. And then I just put a battery down the other end and just touch down there till I get the lights to work. So I've got to bolt that back on. The bottom half of it is, I don't know where it's gone. It's down here somewhere. That would have been a lot easier if I'd done that before I put the wheel on, because the bolt is under here. Not much space. I've got to get a socket on there. Although I should be able to do it if I go and get my smaller socket set. I was trying to use my big one that I got from Lidl's. I won't get in there with that one, but if I go and get a smaller one I should be able to. But I put it back together and it is working and it is steering like 90% better than it was, but because it was really stiff. There was no grease down there at all, it was bone dry. And like I said, I've looked everywhere down here for any missing ball bearings and I can't find them. Nope, I thought that was one there shining away and it's not. So yeah, I re-greased them, put the bearings back that I had, and there's a bit of space. So the chap I got the wheel from, you know, he did say today if I need any other bits, just message him because he's got parts galore for these. I'm debating on this because that's a twist grip. Now I know he's got one of them, but I tried taking this off because the cable ran through all this baggage rack and that's been a pain in the ass. But I couldn't. I can't get the screws to undo, and that is aluminium. The screws are steel. So those of you that know what happens when two different metals metals sit together for a long period of time like that, yeah, I don't think those screws are coming out without a fight. In fact, I think I can see some of that aluminium, what we call aluminium oxide or something, that basically it almost fuses the two different metals together. It is horrible stuff. I've had that happen on my Schwinn hybrid that I'm riding around on the handlebar stem. I know that for a fact simply because there's no bolt in the handlebar stem to hold it to the bike. And I've been riding it around 3 months like that, and still it has not come loose. You wait, one of these days I'm going to go on that bike and the handlebar's going to go one way and the front wheel's going to go the other way because it'll suddenly break loose. But yeah, I think they're well and truly seized in there. They ain't coming out at all. I think there's more chance I would win the East Anglian Air Ambulance lottery. Anyway, I have done, because I just couldn't resist, I have done a bit of cleaning up on it with a rotary tool and a small wire brush, like on the brake caliper, or at least on the front brake caliper. They're cleaning up quite nicely. And in fairness, so has all the bolts and stuff for the headset, and they've all cleaned up. Handlebars totally shot. I could clean some of the rust off, but it is quite heavy. They really, if I want to tidy this up a bit more, I would need another handlebar. I'm pretty certain I don't have one in the workshop, but next time I'm over there I'm going to have a look. But yeah, I need to change. I'm going to change both cables only because the front one's frayed and horrible, and the outer for the rear cable isn't very good either. And I don't know why, all the years I've been tinkering around with bikes, I never thought to do this in the past, and I've always struggled in the past to do this. So on this particular bike, and some mountain bikes do this as well, the rear brake cable and the gear cable actually, they go through the frame, so they go in at the top here and then come out at the bottom. Right. So in the past, what I've done, like a moron, is got way ahead of myself and just disconnected the cable and pulled the cable all the way through, and then afterwards been like, well, now how am I going to get the new one through? But I have thought that is an easy way to do it. What I'm going to do, I'm going to disconnect the cable there from the caliper. I'm going to disconnect it from, well, it is actually disconnected from the brake lever. And I'm then going to just pull the inner cable through, so I leave this white tubing where it is, so I just pull the cable through. Then I'm going to thread the new one down this outer. Once I've done that, I'm going to hold onto the brake cable so I don't pull it through the frame, and then pull this through, leaving just the inner cable through the frame, and then I should be able to thread the new one on through the cable. Now I'll go in one hole and out the other hole. That's the plan. It would just save trying to, like tape two ends together and pull it through and feed a drawstring through and whatnot. I've even managed to clean some of the rust off of the brake levers. I'm going to put new brake pads on. I wasn't going to, but they're pretty well worn out, in fairness. Ow! Yeah, that's why I want to change the cable, because I just got stabbed off of this one. In fact, it's so frayed, I can't pull that off. It's actually stuck in there. Stuck in the pinch bolt. See if I can free off those adjusters. I must see if I've got any more in the workshop, just in case. So it's not going to be a perfect bike when it's done. I'm not going on for a mint restoration. That's not the plan for this. I had wanted to keep it as the ratty look, although I think that is a bit too ratty, don't you? Oh yeah, you did see it. Couldn't quite see from there if you could see it or not. But yeah, I've got 4 of this shopper bike, as we commonly call them here. Probably because back in the 70s when they were designed, I think it was the 70s, it could have been the late 60s, they basically designed for people that lived in cities. You know, and perhaps lived in a flat like this and didn't have outside storage or anything, but needed a bike to commute around on and go to the shops on. Hence, shopper. I think that's where the name probably stems from. And even, you know, out in towns like this, they're quite a popular bike. Even modern ones are quite popular. This one doesn't fold in the middle though. I've got doors downstairs that I also paid £20 for. And that was rideable when I bought it. The rear brake was seized up, so I had to put another cable on. Although I did get it free off when I got it back here, but it weren't working great, so I just cut it and put a new one on. I think I did the front one while I was at it. And new brake blocks, and that was it. That's all I've done to it. But other than that, I could have used it as it was. For 20 quid. Then I got this one. That was very not usable when I bought it. I feel I've overpaid for this one. I don't know, I don't know what it was that drew me to it. I mean, essentially it is just a rusty turd. There's no denying that, it's an old turd. But it's my old turd now. Like I said, it's the fourth one. The best one I've got is over at the workshop. That's also a rally. And I've also got a Hawks Cycles one. You have to pedal backwards on that one to brake. It's got a pedal back brake on it, as well as the ordinary front. In fact, it's a single speed as well, so the only cable it's got is for the front brake. You probably don't really need that, not with that rear brake. Trust me, you can lock that up. Anywho, shall we move on? There we go. So I have been very busy in Diecast Corner. For a couple of reasons. I want to get space cleared in here. That's why I'm sort of concentrating on getting this bike done, so I can get it downstairs out of the bloody way. And get my tools put away, out of the way. But I want space in here because I want to get the model railway down, which is just there, just off camera. Because I'll show you. That's my model railway just folded up there. Just got them two catches, one there and one over there. Just drop those and I can drop it down. Preferably not on the head. You know, and I didn't put your back right, did I? Duh. There we go. You know, then run me trains round it again. Because I haven't done that in a long time. I would like to try and do a bit more building. Although I'm not very artistic. I've got some repairs to do on there, thanks to a certain little white fluff ball. When I first got her. She used to climb up the end here and pulled all my fences off on this corner. Bless her. At least Maggie wants to say hello to YouTubes. No, you don't care about things like that. He hid up most of the day today. Mind you, I think with those SDS drills, and if I had sensitive ears like cats, I think I'd hide up as well. So, yeah, anyway, in Diecast Corner, not only did I have all my boxes of organised diecast, believe it or not, I had 9 boxes that weren't organised. Where I'd collected up, you know, like job lots I'd got from a diecast guy and whatnot, just throw them in a box and throw them up in the corner. So they're all mixed, and all needed organising. That's exactly what I was doing yesterday. So I just chose a simple organising method. I've done it mostly by leading brands. So what I would consider a leading brand would be Matchbox, Hot Wheels, Corgi, and Majorette and Dinky. I know Dinky don't exist anymore. I would consider them a leading brand, at least back in the day. And I've pretty much got a box for just, or a couple of boxes for like everything else. All the other brands and whatnot. I've got 2 of those. I've got one down in that pile, right at the bottom at the back, and one under the bed. Which I'm going to fish out at some point, because I've got some more to go in that. And that ain't going in the... Actually, I've got another box down there, I've just realised. And my box of scrap is behind the model railway as well. And I've got a very large box of Corgi down there too. It's too big to go up this corner, unfortunately, so it's just tucked up down there. It's out of the way. It doesn't matter. I've got a box of Matchbox Convoys down there as well. I've got to be reboxed. Where's my tub? I've got to put them in one of these because I've outgrown that one. It's overflowing, and I've got more to go in the top of it. Now this actually had Hot Wheels in it. That was the other motive for getting up this corner. So I had 2 of these full of Hot Wheels in the cupboard in the hallway, which I've recently cleaned out as well and had to sort out in there. And one of the sorry Smudge, caught my foot just in time on his tail. Anyway, yeah, I want to get these out of that cupboard as well, so I can put them all up there. So that, you know, 90% of my diecast is up there. So I did find 2 boxes this morning under the model railway bench that I'd forgotten about. Yeah, so I went and bought, well, see these big tubs here, like that one. Went and bought 4 of those because they were on offer, 2 for £10. So I grabbed 4 of them. I swapped all the Hot Wheels into there. Now actually, one of them managed to hold like 1.5 of the other box, which is actually good because I did have a bunch in the kitchen, because those 9 boxes that are up there that needed organising, I took it to the kitchen and did it through there. I pretty much just sorted them out by brand. I really shouldn't leave it so long, because it takes me twice as long to do anything with it. But hey ho. Oh, pardon me. Yeah, and in fact, this looks darn sight tidier now than it used to. I had a few other bits of random crap that I'd thrown up there as well that I got rid of. By got rid of, I mean, apart from the 3 traffic cones, they went in the cupboard, everything else went in the bin. Mostly, because it was just junk. I've been getting a little bit ruthless, as we say. I've been chucking stuff in the bin. I've been trying to sell some stuff as well, but nothing is selling. So I'm a bit disappointed there. I have noticed a couple of issues. My 2 boxes of Matchbox Super Kings and King size are full to the brim. I have no more room in them. Which could pose a problem if I buy any more in the future, because I won't have nowhere to put it. I think most of the Hot Wheels boxes are now full. I've got quite a few different boxes of Matchbox. There is room in a big one under the bed though, so I've still got a little bit of room there. Majorette, I've got a big old tub over there for the Majorette. There's a little bit of room in one of those. I think that's about it really. So, yeah, some of them are full, but yeah, we're not at critical levels yet. There will be some more going on display. Now I've got 2 of these boards. Yeah, you could actually just about see I've got 2 of these. And I want to cut them down so they are the same width as these ones. Got 2. That one's got some old Lesnies on it. Some of them have been restored. There's actually some restored Majorettes on there as well that I did. That one's got some Matchbox Super Kings, King size, and some models of yesteryear on it. But they don't go all the way down the wall. You see, they sort of just stop just past my head there. Yeah, just where that last Hot Wheels car is hanging. So I want to cut them boards down and add them on the end so I can extend these to them. I've been wanting to do that for years. Now at least give me a little bit more display area up here. Short of putting some shelves above the bed, I don't think I've got anywhere else I can put any. Yeah, that's pretty much the only space actually. I mean, they're not going to go all the way down to the end of the two big shelves here, but that's good enough. And I will paint them white as well. I've got some white gloss in a box there that I can use. I'll just give them a quick coat of that, and then they can go up on the wall. But I need to cut them down on my stepdad's table saw. I'm not going to try and do that freehand. It'll be just as easy. It'll take a bit of time to drag it out of the hidey hole it's in the workshop, but it'll certainly be easier and make life easier to cut it. So I just need to measure up one really, then I can cut them both together in one swoop. The other one's downstairs in the shed, but I'm not going to get those over on the moped, so they're going to have to go over in the car or something. But I would like to get that done, you know, sooner rather than later. I've just seen a Matchbox car up there. That doesn't belong up there. Mind you, I've just looked at it. I've got a few of these, and that's in pretty good condition compared to the other ones. Pretty good condition. And I know where I'm going to put that actually. I know exactly where that's going to go. On my little display in the hallway. I've got a little bit of room on there. I was shuffling some of the cars around earlier while they were fixing my door, fitting my door I should say. The shelves I put up in the kitchen are going to have to come down temporarily as well. But I'll put them back up once everything is said and done in the kitchen. Then I can rearrange the display in there. I'm looking forward to getting this down. And I'm blaming Laurie's Mechanical Marvels here on YouTube for that. I do actually moderate his Discord server. Yeah, but he's just done a very large event because he actually owns 3 real locomotives. They're all diesels as well, and all Rustons. And his smallest one, the Ruston 48 he owns, has just been up to, actually I guess it'd be a cross 2 if you know, going in the sense of the map. So Ormston or something like that in Derby. The big locomotive factory there, I believe it still builds the modern locos. But they held what they called the Greatest Gathering. And they had obviously stalls there with people selling stuff. But it was to celebrate 200 years of the railway. I wish I could have gone to that. I reckon I'd had a cracking time. It ran all weekend, last weekend it ran. So I don't know when his Ruston is coming back home. Because it actually lives like roughly 30 minutes from where I live. Not that far away. It's at the Reefman-Whitwell Railway here in Norfolk. A very good one, a very popular one, even for bikers. Every Friday there's bikers that meet up there, and hundreds of bikers that meet up there. I keep telling myself that one day I'll ride up there. And he's also holding, you know, like a meet for his channel, which he calls LMM Fest. That's what they call Laurie's Mechanical Marvels for short, LMM. And despite moderating his channel, his Discord server for several years now, I've still never met him. Or any of the other mods. A lot of the other mods have met each other. You know, and met Laurie and whatnot. Not me. I still haven't managed to. So I'm determined to go to LMM Fest this year and fight through the anxiety just so I can do that at least once. Really, to battle the anxiety, I need to just keep doing it on a regular basis. But the problem is getting over that anxiety. That's where the issue lies. And I'm sure lots of people that suffer with anxiety and whatnot, for, you know, you can get anxiety for all sorts of reasons, not just because you're autistic. But yeah, I'm sure a lot of people would actually agree with me. You know, you just getting over that hurdle is the struggle. And there's still, you know, a good chance that I might just say, nah, I don't want to go. You know, just bottle it. But I'm going to do my best not to. Is there anything else I want to add? I don't know why I'm hearing car doors out front at this time of night. Anyway, I think instead of rambling on about random stuff now, I'm going to end the video. So, thanks a lot for watching. As always, if you liked the video, give it a like. If you didn't, give it a dislike. Leave a comment if you have one. Ask a question if you have one. Down in the doobly-doo down below. Comment section. And of course, consider subscribing. It is totally free to do so. You can follow me in my up-teen bloody hobbies and whatnot, if you want to. Yeah, so thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you in the next one.